The harvesting house is a house that was built by students of the Limestone District School Board in collaboration with Brayberry Homes here in town. They have a program, a focus program called Building Construction Internship Program, or BCIP. It's been going, I think, for over 20 years, maybe 25 years now. And I think they're up to 75 houses locally and within the surrounding area. Students have built. Don Votri, he was the founder of this BCIP program. He actually just retired. And I mean, that was about 25 years work, right? And on his last project, he wanted to make something extra special. So he went, and with Brayberry's cooperation and collaboration, they've decided with the students to build a green home, or a harvesting home. So the idea behind this house is for the students as well, is to, in their lifetime, they're going to be coming across systems like geothermal, gray water, solar. So he wanted these students to have the experience with his last project to get hands-on and install them and see what they're like. So really it was for the students what would better prepare them. So that's kind of what the house is. It's a green home in the way that it's really above and beyond the code or the norm right now, and to show and prove that housing like this, is very much feasible, and it's in an area where you drive down the street and you wouldn't know that it's that much better. It looks the same, but again, it's very much more efficient. The Harvesting House project within the Limestone School Board in cooperation with Brayberry Homes is a three-phase project. The first was obviously the education component of actually the students building the house, right? So that's phase one. Right now, currently within this school year until June, it's the second phase, which is the education phase. So why is this house even relevant? Why are these technologies relevant? What's the idea of green or eco or sustainability? We hear about these things all the time now. So right now it is an education center. It's not necessarily open, 9 to 5 type of thing. There are public tours available if you did contact. Again, a lot of that would be through scheduling. So that's the second phase, which is the green education. And the third, some of the profits, from the sale of the house would be going to create a green scholarship fund for the Limestone Learning Foundation. So that's kind of the expanded scope of this project. It's been running since September, this green education phase, and again, continuing on till June. We've had approximately, I think, 1,800 people through the house so far, and that usually runs classes, grades 5 to 12, but also, I'll get a phone call here and there from interested parties or contractors or family members that just want to see, some of these technologies. Words about this house in Kingston in Ontario and maybe Canada and the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dan. Good morning, everyone. And I'm very pleased to be here. I was first approached.
This house has a lot of different green features. Things like low VOC paint, it also makes it a healthy home because those volatile organic compounds aren't really the best thing to be breathing in. A dual flush toilet system. We have a gray water recovery, bringing back some of that, using your water for a second purpose, if that makes sense. Also geothermal, which we have downstairs in the basement for our heating and cooling. We have solar thermal, which there's different types of solar panels, and this one is related to water. It heats your water, basically. Also, to make sure you always do have hot water, just in case it was a very cloudy day and a week long of cold days in February, there's an on-demand unit, which actually just heats up that water when you need it, and not all day long in your tank. So it's a combination system we have downstairs. The hardwood flooring, I think the trees came from Ottawa Valley, and we bought the hardwood from a place in Tweed. Insulation is actually coming from old glass bottles, or there's glass bottles used in the manufacturing of the insulation, as well as the carpeting you'll see downstairs comes from recovered #1 plastic bottles. So it's made of basically pop bottles, some of the carpeting there, as well as the insulation in general. It's a very tight envelope of the house and very insulated because, again, we're creating the heat and we want to keep that heat, right? So those are some of the main features of the house. The idea of the harvesting house was to show that, with little tweaks in a system, you can make something a lot better. And to show that you don't have to change too much, to make it that much more efficient. And I always ask, with now, I think they say in 2011 we'll have 7 billion people on the planet, and we all know about problems with pollution in the environment. So really just being conscious of what we're using, even a house, a system that consumes electricity, knowing that Ontario power mix is a lot of nuclear and coal and gas, and yes, we have wind turbines and solar now and hydro. A lot of that's coming from different power sources that have detrimental byproducts that affect our environment. So we know that. We know that the way we're consuming things, is when it's being produced, it has some bad things for our health and the environment in which we live in, right? The idea of this house is, if you went to the next door neighbor, you wouldn't notice the difference aesthetically. The function's the same, but operationally, it's so much more efficient. We can do it like that, You don't have to necessarily live in a field if you don't want, if that's not what you like, with a straw bale house. There's options to make where we currently live to either retrofit or with a new build to make it that much more efficient. So why not? They say right now, what I've been told is the average cost of a house like this to operate over the course of a year would be about $5,000, and I think it's down to about $1,000 right now. So I mean, financially, I see the point. I also see the fact that we hear about it all the time now. We hear about green and eco and sustainability. I think we're starting to realize that we do have limited resources, and we have to be smarter with some of our design. I've traveled to Sweden where I did my studying, and I lived in Asia, and you travel to different parts of the world and you really do see the effects of kind of what we do as a human population. So I just love this stuff. I think it's really interesting, and I love thinking of better ways to make things more efficient and to be more mindful when we're building and designing things.